a quiet suburban neighborhood just outside Houston. Everything looked perfect. The houses were clean and identical. The lawns were trimmed with precision, and the streets were calm and peaceful. Every evening, as the sun slowly dipped below the horizon, children filled the sidewalks with laughter. Bikes rolled across driveways, chalk drawings covered the pavement, and parents watched from their porches with smiles. It was the kind of place families dreamed of living in. Safe, friendly, peaceful. But no one in the neighborhood knew that their peaceful life was about to change. Because of one rule. A rule that would silence the sound of childhood itself. One Monday morning, residents woke up to an official email from the Homeowners Association. At first, it looked like a normal community update. But as they read further, confusion turned into disbelief. The new rule stated, effective immediately, children are not allowed to play in streets, sidewalks, or common areas due to excessive noise complaints. Silence fell across the neighborhood. Parents reread the email multiple times, hoping it was a mistake. But it wasn't. The rule was real, and it was now enforceable. Among the residents was Sarah Williams, a hardworking single mother raising 2 young children, Jake, age 9, and Lily, age 6. For Sarah, the neighborhood wasn't just a place to live. It was a safe space where her children could grow, play, and feel free. Every day after school, Jake and Lily rushed outside to ride their bikes and play with friends. It was their favorite part of the day. But when Sarah read the HOA email, her heart sank. Because she knew one thing instantly: this rule wasn't just unfair. It was personal. The very next afternoon, the children stepped outside like usual. They were laughing, playing hopscotch, and riding their bikes quietly. Then a black HOA vehicle slowly pulled up. An officer stepped out with a clipboard. He approached the children and handed a written warning to Sarah. Violation of noise and common area usage policy, it read. The kids looked confused. They weren't shouting. They weren't causing trouble. They were just being kids. For the first time, the sidewalk felt silent. Within days, the entire neighborhood atmosphere changed. Parents started keeping their children indoors. Bicycles disappeared from driveways. The once lively streets became eerily quiet. Community group chats exploded with messages. Is this rule even legal? Since when are kids considered noise violations? This is a family neighborhood. Anger began to grow, but most residents were too afraid to challenge the HOA. Except one person, Sarah. Late at night, after putting her children to bed, Sarah opened her laptop. She started researching HOA laws, community regulations, and homeowner rights in the United States. Hours passed, and what she discovered shocked her. HOAs could create rules, but they could not enforce unreasonable restrictions on basic residential living, especially targeting children in shared spaces. The more she read, the clearer it became. This rule might not just be unfair. It might actually be unlawful. A week later, the HOA announced a community meeting to address recent concerns. Residents filled the meeting hall with tension in the air. At the front of the room sat the HOA president, Mr. Douglas, a strict man known for enforcing rules without compromise. He adjusted his glasses and spoke confidently. The no-play rule is necessary to maintain peace, property value, and community order. The room went silent. Parents exchanged shocked glances. Then Sarah slowly stood up. With calm determination, Sarah addressed the board. Respectfully, she began, a neighborhood without children playing is not peaceful. It is lifeless. The room grew still. She explained how families moved into the community because it was advertised as family-friendly. She pointed out that children playing quietly in shared spaces was normal residential behavior. Then she asked one question that changed everything. Was this rule voted on by the community, or decided by a few individuals? The HOA president hesitated, and that hesitation said more than words ever could. Suddenly, another resident stood up. He revealed that the HOA had received only 3 noise complaints, and all of them came from the same house. One single neighbor, not the entire community. Murmurs filled the room. Parents looked furious. The board members began whispering nervously. The rule that silenced dozens of children was created because of one complaint. Not the neighborhood, not the majority, just one voice with influence. Facing community pressure and legal concerns, the HOA had no choice. 2 weeks later, an official notice was sent. The restriction on children playing in common areas has been revoked. That evening, something beautiful happened. Children returned to the sidewalks. Laughter echoed once again. Bikes rolled freely across the pavement. Parents smiled from their porches. And Sarah watched quietly as her children played again, just like before. Because sometimes, it only takes one brave person to stand up, to bring life back to an entire community. And in that neighborhood, the silence was finally broken by the sound of children laughing again.